Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Trashika and I am so happy to see you here. Today is a special day. It marks the beginning of a new vertical on this channel, and that's podcasts. I'm yet to decide a name for it, so bear with me while I do that. And if you have any suggestion on any name, please be my guest and put it down in the comments. I could really use your help in deciding. Mark my words. Now, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur who's currently a student or a salaried person, or even a business owner who has been in the business for almost 5 years, you're going to love the guest we have with us today. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to you Mr. Lokesh Khandelwal. It's an honor to have you with us, sir. Why don't you begin with introducing yourself?
Thank you so much, Trashika. Actually, nothing much to introduce, but I was born and brought up in Kota, Rajasthan. Did my schooling there, and then went to IIT Kanpur. Did my electrical engineering from there. Worked with companies like Asia Brown Boveri, ABB, and Infosys. In between, I also did my CFA and MBA. And then, while working in Infosys, uh, something was not happening right with me, that you know I didn't wanted to do coding all along my life. So I decided that why not do something different which is close to my heart. And mathematics was the subject that I loved it since my childhood. That was my passion. And being from Kota, it was easy for me to jump the wagon. And then I switched on my career to teaching. I started with the pioneer Bansal classes in Kota, and then started on my own. In between, I was like, one of the startup member in a Delhi-based institute, which was also in IIT JEE coaching. I worked there for 1.5 to 2 years, which gave me a lot of confidence because I was at the helm of the coaching industry. And later, when our organization was founded, that is Resonance, I became one of the co-founder and headed mathematics department since then for nearly 2 decades now. So this is a brief introduction of maybe a bit longer, but this is what I'm as of now.
I loved the introduction. I think I did not know a lot of things. I did not know that you were actually teaching somewhere else in a different coaching institute also. So it's
Yeah,
good to know about your journey. So
yeah,
initially you mentioned that you got your exposure from a different coaching institute and you rose above and you did very well and then you started Resonance, right? So did you
yeah.
have any initial reservations when you were starting, like anything which was holding you back, even a judgment of people, because that's what happens, when you start something of your own. It's humble beginning, right? And a lot of people fear that judgment. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Everyone have some shortcomings, and though I did my BTech from IIT and all, I was slightly hesitant in speaking part of it,
mm,
and that reflected in my interviews in CAT IIMs also, where I couldn't do much because some I lacked the communication skills or whatever. I didn't had any formal setup of that. So while teaching, this is one of the important aspect to how to communicate and how to deliver your message or your information or knowledge to the students who are sitting uh, in front of you. But the most important thing, the core competency that I had, was that I had faith in my knowledge
mm,
about my subject. That confidence was there, that I know my subject pretty well and I'll speak. Fortunately for me, mathematics is the subject which doesn't require much stories to be built up around, unlike other subjects. So that was a good part. But slowly and slowly, when you are confident in particular thing, then other things just come around, and it may be a couple of classes when I felt something that I was having goosebumps or something in the class. But later on, by God's grace, students also liked me and my style, and then it was like very smooth walk since then.
Okay. So I know that, when you started, you already had a lot of students coming in, right? And in the first year of business, it's always difficult to get your students to trust you because they are trusting you with their career, with that 1 or 2 years that they are with you, and that will decide the rest of their lives. So how did you get them to trust you? Like the first student you had, like what did you say, or how did they show that faith in you?
Yes, actually, it wasn't that easy, but I communicated my message through some of the introductory classes.
Hmm.
One or two classes I gave them for just for demonstration, and fortunately for me, at that time the industry was in a nascent stage. Okay, so there were not too many I will say teachers around where student has to judge who is the best among several lot. It was a couple of teachers. Okay, and I was devoted to my subject like anything. Well, you won't believe that I used to wake up till 2 a.m. in the morning, solving questions. So what I have to teach in the next class, and then 6:30 I have a class. So that kind of hard work I had to put up, and I was very passionate about my career towards a student. Which if you are really something which comes from your heart, then students realize that. So
Hmm.
I felt that teaching for me is a noble profession, and I should do everything so that my student gets through. And I was lucky enough that in the very first year also I was able to achieve success of various students. And my philosophy was always that the student may not be able to get into IIT or maybe in some competitive exam, but when he go from after teaching, getting taught by me, he should feel that I have achieved something. I have, wherever I was at X level, maybe I have gone to 2x or 3x. That was, the satisfaction that I had, and that kicked my class coaching classes.
And I'm sure like it would have been a crazy experience when like, people just like were getting into IIT or maybe NIT or BITS, and it must be such a proud moment. Did it happen in your first year, or, like every business, it takes time?
Yes, yes. No, no. Actually, it happened from the very first year.
Wow.
And initially, in the very first year, the ranks were not that great.
Hmm.
But as a teacher in our fraternity, we say that the most important award or reward that we get is that when the students get qualified and they come to us after the results are there, their parents come, the happiness that they have, you know, that was the most beautiful reward that we can get. So it happened from the very first year, although ranks were not that great. But the best part was that there were a lot of students who thought that they will never be able to make it. Okay, but they were able to get some of them. Obviously, this is a competition, so not all students can get through, but a few of them were able to get through, and that was the basic thing. When we started Resonance, also this was the thing which we had in prime our you can say USP, that an average student also will be able to get success once he goes through our methodology of teaching.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So now you started, people were getting in, enrolled with you. So now I want to know, like, when did you decide it was time to hire? Right? Because you had your founder with you who was teaching physics, and then you were teaching mathematics. So then, there are other subjects. So when did you decide who to hire? And, what criteria did you see in your first hire?
Okay, so when we started Resonance in the very first year, we had nearly around 1,000 odd students,
Wow.
and given the best size that we had, it was I could have easily catered to those things. But slowly and slowly, when we started expanding, and at the same time, we had a vision that we are going good. The students are having faith in us, so it will be very difficult for us to uh, grow unless and until we develop new talent and hire new talent. So, and I just for the fact, I know someone in industries, who didn't do these kind of things and were eventually, were not able to get the greater heights which they could have made. So we started hiring people, uh, and basically when we there were basic criteria like they have an engineering or mathematical background. For example, in mathematics or physics, chemistry, it was likewise. And then we had a written examination. We gave them sufficient time. We gave them that we will be asking problems in written examination based on like past 20 years IIT JEE paper and similar. And then we had a demonstration also, like how do they communicate, etc. Although because I also went through the same drill, so I know that not everyone is that conversant, but we were able to gauge that the teacher that has come to us has a neck that he can handle the class, he can deliver his message across. And then there was a training session which lasted for nearly 3 to 4 months, where we used to deliver him the content, he or her, we used to deliver the content to them. And when we had a regular test, and then we had demonstration for each chapter. So after 3 4 months, when we felt that they are sufficiently trained and now they can take the class, so we used to give them 1 or 2 classes. Like for example, I have a batch, and suppose I have to go somewhere, and some discussion is pending or something is pending, so I used to offer a class that you go and you prepare this, you have this discussion, so that they have an exposure to the class. But at the same time, I can't jeopardize my students' future also. So I knew that what I have to give. And slowly this thing grew. And eventually, Resonance at the peak would had around, 2,800 employees, of which around 900 faculties were there. And you can see around 300 in mathematics department, around 250 to 300 faculties in mathematics department.
Was it difficult to like trust somebody with the students? Like I know you told me that it almost sounds like a probation period, which we have in our corporates, 3 months or 6 months of probation period until they give you full-time employment. Because I'm sure with the students, like I mentioned before, that they are trusting you with their future. So it must have been like a huge responsibility on yourself also, that you are, if you're going to give like 1 or 2 class to somebody else, then it's a responsibility on you, and then it just passes on to that person. So
Yes. Yeah. No, definitely the responsibility was huge. But the best part was that I was coming back to their classes. So if a student had some shortcomings or something, they were always free to ask. And we were like in that mode that even if the student, you won't believe that the student used to ask me doubt, even at 11 in the night, that sir, I have a problem in this or that. And we were always there for them. If I'm slept, then whenever I'll get up in the morning, I'll answer their queries. Even till date, I do the same. If some student give me WhatsApp message or something that sir, I have this problem, I try to give him the answer as early as possible. So that was the thing. But you have to try out, because no one is perfect. So you cannot say that you should get a faculty which is from day one he's a gango and every student will like him. Even maybe out of 100 students, a few will not like me also, would not have liked me also. This do happen, but it's like a normal distribution. But majority of the students, if they are happy, then we have achieved the task, obviously. So slowly and slowly, teacher also gets confidence when he gets into the class and all this thing. And we were lucky that we had a good team in the initial phase, which were able to contribute the similar. And it was like learning from the leaders. We always believe that we are not here to dictate others that you do this. We were setting examples to them. If I will start my day at 6 o'clock in the morning and end at 11 p.m. in the night, okay, in between, obviously, I had some breaks and all. But the teacher incumbent will also see the same thing, that if my senior is doing this much efforts and putting in a lot of effort, they understand the gravity of the profession. It's not a white collar job like 10 to 7 or something where
Right.
you go and then it's a responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, and they realize this thing depending on looking at this us and other colleagues, and fortunately we were able to get good team out of that. Yeah.
Wow. And if I were to translate that into any other business, like even I have clients who, send message to you like at 11 p.m. and go like, oh, this happened. Can you help me out? And we have to, right? Because as a passionate person, because first of all, you can't have a business if you're not passionate about the subject, be it anything, right? So
Right.
even if there are things coming up in the middle of the night, you want to help out because this is your business. This is the only thing that brings you joy at this time. So
Right.
I completely relate to the fact that, and I think another thing which I absolutely loved is that the leading by example. I think that is something very, very important, especially like in the initial part, because what is happening, what I'm seeing right now is that like when people start their business, I think for a few months, or to a year, depending on the type of business, they don't hire somebody, and when they hire somebody, they are it is because they are overworked, so they move on to something else and they handle over the what they were doing to the new hire. And because the responsibility differs, the new hire is often like, they don't know what to do, they have not seen it, and that lead by example thing does not happen. So this I think it shows the culture that you wanted to incorporate in the organization, and that has evolved like 900 to 900 faculties. Like that's a fantastic number. Okay, so now let's
I would
talk.
also like to mention here one thing, like one of my student, he was into this. He went into this film production line, etc. And they were able to get. He did a good work, and they were able to get funding. So,
Wow.
I happened to meet him once. That what you are doing, they had achieved a good amount of funding. So he said, "कि sir, अभी तो पैसा खर्च करना है, मजे कर."
Hmm.
So that it might be his thing, but
Hmm.
that took me a bit aback. This happens with the many startups. We get the funding, कि यार अभी तो पैसा आ गया, let's enjoy and all these things. But eventually, this is not going to lead them to success.
Yeah.
You need to count every penny. When
Hmm.
I started with a single room. It
Hmm.
was no hopa hula, something that I am making a great infrastructure and something that show business type of thing, so that students get attracted to that.
Hmm.
So as an entrepreneur, your audience who might be listening to that, I'll suggest that you need to value each and every penny that you have and try to make best use of that, rather than just because someone has given you the money and what happens, ठीक है, चलेगा तो चलेगा, नहीं चलेगा तो नहीं चलेगा, let's enjoy. This is not going to lead success in the long run, I'll say.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, like I remember when the first building of Resonance had come up, it was so big. Like I was in school back then and I saw the building, it was so big. And now like I did not understand that back then, but like today, looking back at that moment that oh such a big building and it's your business, right? So, I'm sure like every other entrepreneur, like let's move on to your personal growth for now, right? So when that was happening, the success was happening, was there any point where you felt like an imposter, or maybe any moment where you wanted to give up, and what kept you going? Because I'm sure like it's not always uphill, like that's how it looks like on social media or in movies, but like I'm sure there must have been ups and downs. So what about you? Like did you ever feel that you just like, okay, no, this I can't do this, but like no, I have to do this? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, after initial years, a few years, definitely, when the things started do getting monotonous. Being an IITian, you always love new and new challenges.
Hmm.
And if you need to go to the class and deliver the same thing again and again, it becomes a monotonous after a bit. So you always keep on weighing that obviously you have a life, you have a family to support, and you need to have finances in a way that they can live a decent life because they are dependent on you. So it was a trade off. I knew about my finances, I knew about my responsibilities, although this keeps evolving. At that point of time I thought that X amount is good enough for me, but today if you feel that, going retrospect, I thought that if I would have moved out at that point, I might have had difficulties later on. So luckily by God grace, there were some mentors. Once I thought that I should move to a bigger city, looking at my family and etc., that what priorities they have about my kids and all. So I thought that I'll move to this thing, but my father advised me that you have got an opportunity, try to make use of it, and definitely you can move whenever you want, but try to secure yourself financially also. Financially is an important part, and obviously passion was there because I knew that even if I go somewhere else I have to do this only.
Hmm.
Okay, so I thought that why not do it here for some more years.
Hmm.
And fortunately it turned out that the rewards kept on accruing, and I was able to get a stable financial thing. And at the same, when I left Infosys for this particular job, for this particular thing, I thought that what a person requires. So my understanding was that a person requires a power, fame, and money. These
Hmm.
three things are very crucial for anyone to get keep on motivated. And this was the field where you can get fame. You were able to get money also, touch wood, at that point of time, and power was also there because you were in touch with so many persons, many of the senior bureaucrats or industry.
Right.
You used to send. Matlab, at one point of time, uh, because of the paucity in faculties, we decided that we'll not take any further batch. And then again, suddenly my co-partner said that, okay, let's take one particular batch because there was immense pressure from every quarters that you admit the student. So we started that we'll take only one batch, and it will be on first come, first serve at this particular day. You won't believe that from 4 a.m. in the morning, people stand it in the queue
Wow.
to get the admission. And it was so mayhem that at 7 or 7:30 we have to call the police to tackle the rush which was there.
Wow.
So that power was also there, the fame and money. So those three things were there. And definitely after some time when I was comfortable, uh, you know uh, but till that time I was in the grooves of this thing, and I continued with this passion till now also. I am pursuing the same, although I have reduced my role much lesser as compared to what I used to have earlier, because thankfully there is a good team which is looking after many of the functions which I used to handle earlier.
I think I have two thoughts on it. First is that, calling police at 7:30 is a good problem to have. If I had like some 300 people showing up that we want to work with you, I'll be overwhelmed with joy that, oh wow, good problem to have. I want to wake up like this every day. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure it must have been crazy, it's a proud moment for everybody who has worked.
Yeah. Right.
Amazing. And the second thing that I wanted to say was that, when you talked about financial security, I want to mention here that, um, as a business owner, what happens is that, few months you make good money and few months it is, low or no or something like that, right? And in my experience, I have seen that when the money is good, people want to go here, travel here, shop here, and all of that. And I think because when you start as a salaried person, you get, like, for example, a lakh a month, right? And you're happy with that and you can spend everything because next month also that money is coming to you, right? But as a business owner, it is so important to know that next month could not be that way to you for you. So you have to save also, you have to invest also in your business, in your personal growth as well, and then move on that. So, like, I'm sure like that has been your learning as well, because in service industry especially, it becomes a bit difficult. Like, you had people you had to give salary to, but otherwise, in service industry, like, your money, it it's your hard work, it's your time. So it becomes a bit difficult to I think like it becomes difficult to put a chunk of it for business or for this or that, because like there is no set expenditure for that, but you have to do that for the future. So I'm sure that that would have been the case with you as well. Okay.
Yes, yes. Having lived both the both the life as a salaried person and as a business entrepreneur also, I will say yes. I happen to work in Infosys,
Mm,
and I happen to interact with Narayan Murthy sir also for for few minutes. But I saw him. He was eating in mess like us at Keonix in Bangalore, and he gave the thing that I don't know how these companies pay, but he saw some graduates from IIMs belonging to some different company and traveling business class and all these things. So he said that if they are able to get, they are having a car, they are having a bungalow at the age of 27, 28, 29. So what is the thing that will give them motivation? So
yeah.
that was one. I will say that young people should value the money, and
Mm,
even if in business if they earn money, they should be like, as you said, they should be prepared for some downturns also,
yeah.
which do happen. And I personally have seen a few persons who have gone overboard with the money that they had,
Mm,
and you know in the process that they will make uh, NX types of money. But the things are not always same every time, and you should have a basic cushion at least.
yeah.
Like they say even in the stocks and all, that you should put in that money which doesn't affect your sleep.
Yeah.
That is the kind of thing. So you need to have a cushion. Once
Mm,
you are satisfied that yeah, my needs are being covered up, then you can play with the extra money. But don't use all the amounts, and then sometimes if the things don't turn the way you are, it
yeah.
really creates a lot of pain. So that should be thought of.
Yeah, it's been my learning as well, because like when the client gives you lump sum amount, you're wealthy all of a sudden. So you have that urge to travel and you have the urge to shop, but at the back of your head, you also have that, okay, no, I have to save. Maybe tomorrow, next month would not be the same. So yes, definitely, I agree with that. And especially like being a digital nomad is like a thing right now. So I can work
Yes.
from anywhere, and but I have to think about my finances that, okay, no, if I were to relocate somewhere else, there'll be more finances. So definitely relate to you on that, when things get monotonous but you want more challenges, you want to explore more, and you have to be patient with that regards. Okay. So now, what are your any advices for the budding and entrepreneurs? I know you have already shared a few, but let's talk about maybe mindset if you want to talk about, or what specific buffer they should have while starting a business. In terms of financial backing or anything that you would want to share. That okay.
No, I think if a young person is starting doing some startup or something, first and foremost thing is that he should have confidence about his or her product.
Mm,
That is the basic thing. There should be a good market of that.
mm,
Okay, just not because others have made millions and billions in startup and all these things. He should not get carried away. Uh, Always weigh that whatever you are getting right now and what you are going to work in. But I won't say that you shouldn't do an startup. Obviously, it's a joy, it's a fun to have something on your own, uh, which you have built up. But you should be totally confident,
mm,
fully devoted on that work, at least for initial years. You should breathe in and out your business. That
mm,
should be the thing. Like I said that I didn't had any time for my family. When in the initial years I have to do the lot of problems. All of them were new to me, and how did the days went. But the thing which was keeping me intact was my passion towards the subject. So you
mm,
should love your thought, you should love your idea, you should love your business, and be prepared to work hard for that. Because as an investor also, I have came across so many investors who have invested, millions of money in different things. They look for the passion that a person has. Obviously, they will look at the market. You are doing something and which doesn't have much of the market, then people will not be that much interested. There should be a market and there should be a passion and energy that you should have. If you have that thing, you should go ahead and be ready, be prepared. Obviously, when someone has done a startup, they are prepared to bootstrap also and uh, work with basic means. But once the success flows in, then keep your head cool and just keep on growing on the basis of that, and uh, looking at the various aspects. Like as I told that failures also comes in between, but you should be prepared enough to tackle those things and grow up.
Yeah, I think I have learned so much in this call with you because, a few things you tell it to yourself, but that, okay, this will get better or something. But like hearing from somebody who has had a very successful business, it just reinforces that confidence that, okay, you can do this, it gets difficult before it gets easy. So, yes. Okay. So, my final question to you, like, what's next for you? Where should our audience reach out to you if they have any questions or just simply to compliment you?
Yes. So although I am at various media, but due to work conditions and all, I'm not always looking at the social media platform. So it will be best if someone has some genuine concern or some genuine requirement, or in some way I can help them out. Then they can email me. Email me at my email ID is lokesh769@yahoo.com. So they can mail me on that particular thing, and I'll try to answer their queries to the best possible manner that I can.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. It couldn't have ended on a better note. An email ID. Awesome. Thank you so much for the values that you have shared here, sir. I and all the people who are watching it, this video, continue to learn from you and get inspired. Like for sure, having a business is difficult, but once you see somebody who has been through so much and is here where you are, it's empowering to say the very least. So, and also thank you so much for being the first guest on this new vertical that I'm starting, and I couldn't have asked for anything else. So thank you so much, and
Thank you
yes,
so much. I'll also like to thank you, Trishika. You had been a very good host, and your questions were very pertinent to the topic that you had asked. I wish you very success in this venture, and all the best for your this career also.
thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Now it's just you and I. So if you gained any value here, please make sure to give this video a like and comment your favorite takeaway. I know I would love to know, and same for Lokesh sir. I am sure he would also want to know what are your thoughts, what was your biggest takeaway from that. And don't forget to share it with your friends so that they can also gain value from it. And lastly, if you want to hear more from our upcoming guests, make sure to subscribe to this channel and watch out this space for more. Until next time.